welcome to the Harvey Hour. I know I gotta fix this podcasting right now, but welcome to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey, as always. This is another live one. Welcome. This is Monday, June 13th. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Monday. Well, I fixed this very, very quickly. I just want to say that, let's start with the first topic. The Warriors tied up the NBA Finals with a 2-2 series. They tied it up to a piece with a 107-97 win over the Celtics with a huge game by Stephen Curry, dropping a game-high 43 points on 14 of 26 shooting and 7 of 14 from 3. Shot 50% from 3. Now in the finals, Curry is averaging over 48% from the field and almost 50% from 3. And I understand that might seem like a nice, like a crazy stat, but it gets even crazier when you think that he's averaging almost 12 threes a game. So he's making about 6 threes a game, which for any player would be an incredible feat to at least make 6 threes just in general. Because, even though the NBA has evolved into more of a three-point shooting contest for the most part, the ability just to make 6 threes in the game is one that not many players even do. But to average that in 4 games against the number 1 defense in the regular season of the Celtics, and we saw that even throughout the playoffs, they had the number 1 defense. And to see what they did, I mean, Curry's on a whole different level. And I know Kendrick Perkins said this, and someone else on Twitter said this, but they both said that regardless of who wins the NBA Finals, let's say the Celtics win in 6 or 7 or whatever, they still think that Curry should get the Finals MVP just because of how dominant Curry has been. And I agree to that at some point. Now, I know it is pretty rare. I don't know if it's ever happened, truthfully, but it is pretty rare for the loser, someone on the losing team, to win Finals MVP. But I think with the ability, with how Curry's playing, I mean, Curry's averaging over 30 points in these NBA Finals. So the fact that Curry is able to do this, and I was thinking this. I didn't tweet this out. I did tweet out something that we'll get to a little bit later in the show, but I basically wanted to tweet out, like, if the Celtics somehow pulled away from this game, and it was very, very close. The Warriors are actually down by 5 going into the second half. So I was going to actually tweet out if the Celtics won. I'm like, what more does Curry have to do? Really, how much more does he really have to do? He's averaging over 27 points in the playoffs, right? On 52% from 2 and 40% from 3. So that's an average field goal percentage of 46%. I mean, there's not much more Curry can do. I mean, he just dropped 43 in probably the most crucial game that the Warriors will play in the entire NBA season. Because if you go down 3-1, the only other team to win a 3-1 was which was the Cavaliers back in 2016 against these Warriors. Not the exact same Warriors, but against the Warriors. They were down 3-1, and they came all the way back to beat the Warriors in 2016. They're the only team to do it. So, I mean, it would be a great story. Let's say they were down 3-1 and come back, but the realistic approach would be they're definitely going to lose in Game 5. And you know what? No, they fought back. You had a clutch 3 from Klay Thompson to put them up 2, I believe. Maybe it was 89-87, but you had Klay on a dish from Steph Curry at the top of the key and drained probably one of the most crucial shots he took. But he scored 8 points in the fourth. Klay scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. He scored 10 the rest of the game. Curry, going into the fourth quarter, had already scored, 33 points? So Klay, again, did not have a great game. He made a couple crucial shots late. But overall, he did not have a great game at all. And that's something that, you know what? I tweeted this out last night. And this is what I said. I said, the Splash Brothers are sadly over. Klay, after his injuries, will never be the consistent catch-and shooter he used to be. Sad, sad reality. He should be gone by next season to develop the younger talent like Poole and Kuminga. Now, I want to break this down and why I said that Klay should be gone. Because you get rid of Klay Thompson. Now, I understand that the realistic approach would be have Klay heal up even more because he came in around mid-season, or actually more so 2/3 into the season he came in. have him get a little bit healthier, try to get his defensive edge back that he used to have, because he used to be a pretty underrated defender. And once people realized that, his ability to defend was really, really good, they started appreciating his ability. They started appreciating his ability to defend more. But I do not think that Klay Thompson will have the comeback that people are hoping that he would have, just due to the simple fact that he's had a long period of time to try to do it. A very, very long period of time. And he just hasn't really ever shown any form of consistency at all. And that's troubling. That really is troubling, because you need to have him. I mean, look at the Warriors. The Warriors were almost down 3-1 to the Celtics. And Curry was doing everything he possibly could to win the game, to win each and every single game. That's why it's so difficult. And Klay Thompson's out here. I understand he's putting in a lot of work. I fully acknowledge that. Curry's averaging 34 points in the finals. Klay averages 19 in his finals career. I'll bring up what he's actually averaging in a few minutes here. I'll do it right now. But Curry is literally doing everything for this team, and he's getting no help whatsoever. Curry has to put on virtuoso after virtuoso just for the Warriors to have a shot, just to keep them in the game. You had a little bit of help from Jordan Poole. He had, I believe, 12 points maybe. He might have had a few more. But he needs to get going. I told you. I've been saying this. He starts off, either the playoffs or a series, very, very hot. I think he put like 20-something points early on. And then he just fizzles out as the series goes on. That could be fatigue. That just could be the fact that they're playing a different defense. They're playing him better. But the Warriors need to have some sort of bench game. I mean, Draymond Green. I talked about it on Friday, right? I said that Draymond Green needs to have a good game. He needs to have a better game than he had in game, what was it, 3? Game 3, where he just played horribly. He got 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 points. He also had 4 steals. So in that regard, he did better. But I've never seen someone with the repertoire of a Draymond Green as a defensive god, right? He's this ultra physical, super defensive player. But he is such a big offensive liability. I see him so many times, right? A relatively open lane down low. He tries to pass it out. Just take the layup, Draymond. Just take the layup. It isn't that hard. I've never really seen like that kind of a superstar be so, I wouldn't say afraid to shoot it, but so reluctant to shoot the ball or drive to make a layup. And some of the shots that he takes are just ugly shots. Front rim, air ball, missing layups. Let's see what Klay scored 18 in 41 minutes, which I mean that's about his average. I mean, you need to have better than that. Klay just in the finals, just in general, does not shoot the ball very well. I mean, he averages about 9. Yeah, he averages 19 points, which I mean is not great. But if you're considered a splash brother, that's why the Splash Brothers are over. Yeah, in these finals, he's averaging 17 points, 2 assists, and 2.5 rebounds. That's a Splash Brother now. That's the Splash Brothers. That's why I said Splash Brothers are dead. They're over. Time to go to Klay, because you can get probably still pretty good value for Klay Thompson just because he has that. Teams will probably be like, okay, if we let him heal, if we let him, if we let him try to come into form more, we might get that old Klay Thompson back. The Klay Thompson that could put up 28, 29 points, 30 points, and be a very, very good defensive player. When, you're coming into this season where he's coming back from those 2 leg injuries, and he's not looking like himself, like, at all, right? So, that's why I said Splash Brothers are sadly over. And, I mean, you know what, maybe Jordan Poole will be the new Splash Brother. People were calling him, I call him the Splash Trio, right? Splash Triplets. because there was a time where Jordan Poole could not be stopped with shooting, putting up 25, 26 points, making 5 threes, being like a splash brother. I mean, Clay come back, Clay puts up 23 or something like that. Curry with another 20. That's a deadly combination if it all worked properly. But Clay just can't seem to get a form back, and he knows it. He admits it. He needs to try to get back into form. Do I think the Warriors will keep him back, though? I do. I think the Warriors will try to retain Klay Thompson just because of the fact that they seem to be very, very strung up on culture. That's why they brought back Andre Iguodala. That's why, Draymond Green got a big deal. Curry's going to be there probably his entire career. They're probably going to keep Klay Thompson again. They're bringing these players in, for veteran, for leadership, So that's why I think Klay might stay. I don't think Klay should stay there just because his efficiency isn't that good. I mean, he's not putting up, I really hope Game 3, right? Game 3, they lost. Klay put up 25 points. I hope that wasn't the Game 6 or Game 5 Klay. I'm hoping Klay is still due. Because he put up 32 in the closeout against Dallas, right? That was the Game 5 Klay. Game 6 at Memphis, he put up 30. And then in, Game 4 against Denver, where they lost, he put up 32. So he's put up 30 in every single series he's played. I think he might be due, but I really hope the 25 is not his due per se. But, who knows? We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back to you in a couple minutes. We're going to be talking about the Celtics and what I think the Celtics need to do to get into form. But we'll be right back. We are back. Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. For those just tuning in, my name is Nathan Harvey, and this is the Harvey Hour. We just discussed, the Warriors' perspective of Game 4 and Curry's phenomenal performance of 43 points on 14 to 26 shooting and shooting 50%, 7 to 14 from three-point land. And we also talked about Klay Thompson, whether he will retain his Splash Brothers status. I personally do not think so. I said Splash Brothers are dead. So let's move on to the Celtics perspective, and I want to first say that I was right with this. I told everyone here who listens to the Harvey Hour, thank you for those who watch, that I didn't believe Robert Williams will have the same impact as he did. Al Horford will not shoot the ball as well as he did. And Marcus Smart will not be that efficient shooting threes. I was right on pretty much all accounts because of the fact that the Celtics have been this inconsistent most of the time. You know, they have one really, really good game, and then they have one really inconsistent game where Jason Tatum, shoots maybe 4 of 15, and, he doesn't put up the numbers he usually does. Although, look at here. Jason Tatum scored 23 points on 8 of 23 shooting, right? He did shoot 50% from 3, though. He shot 4 of 8 from 3. So, I mean, if you take a look at the field goals, you're like, ugh. The points are 23. Those aren't bad points. Marcus Smart doing his thing, shooting 33% from 3 of 9, and 7 of 18 from the field. I don't know who gave him the green light, but it seems like every time he's open at the 3-point line, he just shoots it regardless of whether or not they're losing, winning, whether they need a 3, a 2, or someone else might be open. It seems like he always has the green light to shoot. Jaylen Brown. I also tweeted this out. I said if the Celtics win, Jaylen Brown should get MVP, outplaying Tatum throughout the playoffs and in these finals. I think I'm right with that. Just simply due to the fact of he's playing better than Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum started off being the second highest for MVP voting, obviously behind Steph Curry, who was the favorite, but Jaylen Brown recently moved up to the number 2 spot, meaning if the Celtics win, he'd be in the number 1 spot. I think he damn well deserves to be the MVP if the Celtics win. He's been playing super hard, making clutch shots, impacting the game in a positive way for the Celtics. Jason Tatum's turned the ball over a lot too. Jaylen Brown has his own turnover problems, but Jaylen Brown, he's just outplaying Jason Tatum. I like Jason Tatum better than Jaylen Brown. I think, in the regular season, he was a little bit better than Jaylen Brown. But Jaylen Brown, throughout these playoffs, has really come into form. He's really showing himself as a clutch performer, keeping the Celtics close in these games. Yes, he did score 2 points less, but he also shot the ball a little bit better, 9 of 19. He didn't shoot the 3 ball particularly well, 2 of 6. But I just feel like he's playing better. I really do, yes. Jason Tatum scored 23 points on 11 rebounds and 6 assists. Maybe this is an off Jaylen Brown game, but Jaylen Brown's been the leading scorer for the Celtics in the past couple series. He's just outplaying Jason Tatum. Grant Williams, he's hot some days and he's very ice cold in others. He took 2 shots, made 1, which was a 3 for his only points of the game. And Derek White seems like he comes from out of nowhere really and puts up these insane numbers and hits these clutch shots when they need him to be. He shot 4 of 12, but 3 of those shots came at the 3-point line. Made 3 of 5 threes. He was perfect at the free throw line, 5 of 5. So Derek White is surprisingly the unsung hero of the Celtics when they need him. What the Celtics need to do is just a simple fact of shoot the ball more consistently. Shoot the ball more consistently. And also, we saw it in this game especially. The Celtics, throughout these playoffs and throughout the regular season, were one of the worst. I believe they might have been the worst clutch team in the NBA. Meaning, with the score within, I believe, 5 at the 5-minute mark or below. That's clutch time. They lose, generally. And we saw that in Game 4. We saw it in Game 4. They kept the score relatively close. At about the 3-minute mark, Curry started hitting his threes over and over and over. They could not stop. Curry getting the ball. For some reason, they had a lot of trouble keeping the ball out of Curry's hands. And Curry just kept shooting the threes. You're like, I can take this shot. You know what? Let me shoot this 3 here. Oh, I can get around you. Let me shoot this 3. You're not going to cover me very well. What the Warriors do is pretty simple if you think about it. They set a high pick and roll, and then the shooter comes around, usually Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole. They take the screen generally, and they shoot the 3. It's really as simple as that, but for some reason teams, I don't play in the NBA, obviously, but teams seem like have a lot of trouble, and it could be just because the Warriors' ball movement is some of the best in the NBA. They have an ability to move the ball better than pretty much any other team. So They are so dynamic at many aspects of the game of basketball that they are a multi-threat on different levels. They're not so much a threat on the defensive end. Their rebounding is surprisingly good for a small team. You know, their biggest guys are Bielitsa and Kevon Looney. Draymond Green at most times plays the 5 spot. So, I mean, usually the starting 5 is Curry, Clay, Wiggins, or Curry, Clay, Wiggins, and then Draymond, and then you might have another forward in there. But early on, I believe in the Memphis series, I believe it was, yes. I think Draymond and Curry, or maybe it was Clay, Draymond, and Curry, some combination of those. They said, you know what, we got to input Kevon Looney into the starting lineup, and I think that's the game where he got 22 rebounds, and the Warriors had 70 total rebounds. So you put Kevon Looney in there. I think Otto Porter started the game for the Warriors. 14 minutes, 2 points. Kevon Looney, 11 boards, 6 points. But the Celtics, you know, Al Horford scored 8 points in this game. 8. You're not going to see him put up 26. In game 1, you really saw him. He was really the MVP of that game, making a lot of threes late, clutch shots. He was their leading scorer in game 1. Like I said, I said this when me and my dad first started talking about the Celtics Warriors. Al Horford, and even throughout actually the playoffs for the Celtics, Al Horford is a surprisingly agile player for a 36-year-old in the NBA. He could shoot. He has this weird high catch and shoot where he catches at like eye level, and he can just instantly get off a shot. It's very, very, very impressive. The Warriors, though, we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show. The Warriors actually just got favored in the series to win the finals, according to the sportsbook. So we'll get on to tonight's game, because Game 5 is tonight, I believe, at 9 p.m. on ABC, ESPN. So we'll talk about my prediction, and we'll talk about the money line and the point spread, and then we'll talk about, you know, what prediction did I get right later. But for the Celtics just need the ball to shoot the ball more consistently and get more rebounds. You gotta have Robert Williams in there. Robert Williams has been sore or injured or partly injured or questionable. It seems like the entire playoffs, and that's because he had an injury, I believe, late in the season, and he was a question mark to go against in the Nets series, the Brooklyn Nets series, where they swept. They swept the Brooklyn Nets, and I believe he played in 1 or 2 of those games. Maybe he played in all 4 of those games. But it seems like he's been injured basically the entire playoffs, and I think he has been injured. I don't think there's been one game where he hasn't been questionable or fully healthy in a game. And it shows because, yes, Robert Williams is one of the best shot blockers and interior defenders in the game today. You need him to be healthy. Put 7 points in this game and 12 boards. That's good. 2 blocks. Like, that's okay, but you need Robert Williams to probably put up 10 points. The rebounds are fine. And you might, I guess that's too much to have another block in there, but you need to defend the ball. But if I were the Celtics, I'd be like, you gotta stop Curry from getting the basketball. Double team him. Do something to stop him from getting the basketball. Because they could not stop Curry from getting a shot off. For some reason, Curry's able to get basically anything they want. Anything he wanted, he would just shoot and take it and be done with it. But that's what I would do if I'm the Celtics. I would shoot the ball more consistently and make someone other than Stephen Curry win the game. They did this, or they tried to very, very early on in the Bucks series, right? They said that in game 1, they said, we are going to do everything to shut down Giannis. And they did a great job at that. Giannis did not have he did have a triple-double in game 1, but it wasn't a super effective triple-double. Other players were able to pick up where Giannis left off, or pick up the slack, because the Celtics were putting all their energy into defending Giannis, and the Celtics didn't really put up that many points. But then later on in the Bucks series, they're like, okay, Giannis will put up 35, 40 points basically every single game we play. We got to make sure these other guys can't beat us. And right now, the Celtics need to do the same thing with the Warriors. They got to realize, okay, Curry's going to smoke us at 3. We got to make sure we respond and not let anyone else be even as close as efficient as Curry's being. Which is very hard because Curry at the 3-point, because Curry compared to other players, right? Giannis was a big physical guy. He's going to drive down every time. He's not really going to settle for a 3 or a mid-range. He wants to get down low, get fouled, create contact, put you in foul trouble early. That was Giannis's game. Curry, on the other hand, is slightly different. Curry is a 3-point shooter at heart. This is the root of his game. This is what got him super popular in the NBA. This is how he changed the game, molded the game into more so a 3-point shooting contest. So in order to stop him, you need to match him. If you can't guard him, right? If you can't get the ball out of his hands, you need to match him 3 for 3, which is pretty difficult because of the fact that Curry's shooting almost 50% from 3. So you need to be as efficient as Curry is if you can't stop him. Because Clay probably ain't going to beat you. For sure, Otto Porter Jr. won't beat you. Wiggins had a game of his career. Pretty sure he had a career high in rebounds at 16 rebounds. He almost matched his points and rebounds exactly. 17 points, 16 boards in 43 minutes. He's looking like that number 1 pick right now. The Warriors seem to be a great fit for Andrew Wiggins. Klay Thompson, 18 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Not looking too good. Gary Payton had that really, really bad injury. I believe, was it in the Memphis? Yeah, it was. It was game 1 Memphis. Right, because I think Dylan Brooks got suspended for game 2, maybe? Dylan Brooks got suspended for one of those games. The game right after he actually injured Gary Payton. But Gary Payton he comes in at the right time. There was a point in the game, I believe it was late in the game, where Gary Payton drove and then came out to the left side of the court, right, the left corner, and was going to shoot a 3, but Curry was right there, and he knows that Gary Payton knows that his strength is not shooting 3s, so he gave it up to Curry, set a screen because Grant Williams was coming in, and Curry made the 3. That's good basketball right there. Gary Payton, his dad was I believe his dad's a Hall of Famer, yeah. So Gary Payton II or Jr., he knows how to play basketball, right? He was brought up under his father, who was a Hall of Fame NBA player, phenomenal defender. Gary Payton is basically another version of his dad. He's a very, very intelligent basketball player. He's a phenomenal defender at his very, very small size. He's 6'3", so same size as Curry, but compared to everyone else on the court, pretty small. He really earns his minutes. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist in 10 minutes. That's efficient. Plus, I'm pretty sure, I would assume he's on a minutes restriction because of the injury, but maybe he's not. Maybe that's just the time that Steve Kerr is giving him. But if I'm the Celtics, I would seriously shoot the ball or try to shoot the ball more efficiently. The Warriors actually had a worse 3-point shooting percentage because they took 5 more shots. They were also 5% lower. The Celtics shot almost 39.5%, almost 40%, and the Warriors shot basically 35%. Still won because the Celtics just don't shoot the ball well. They don't. It's crazy that sometimes they have these moments where they're shooting the ball so efficiently, so well, and they dominate teams. And then there's other times where they couldn't buy a bucket. They couldn't do anything. And that's where, in the third quarter, that's where the Warriors separate themselves, right? The third quarter is where the Warriors, that's when that death squad used to come in and take over the game. And the thing that got me nervous, and I'm sure a lot of Warriors fans nervous, was the fact that the Celtics are a great fourth quarter team, especially in this series. They come into the fourth quarter and they take over, and they just couldn't get anything in clutch time, 5 minutes or under. They couldn't. It was back and forth for a while, but when it mattered, they could not match shot for shot. And Curry had a career career performance in the finals. I believe this is the second time that he scored 40 in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he has a crazy number of like 6 threes or more in a final. So something crazy like that. He's the third oldest player to ever score 40. And did he have 10 assists as well? Yeah, I think he's the third oldest player to have a 40-10 game. Or 10 rebounds, sorry, not 10 assists. So, we're taking another break right here. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll talk about tonight's game, and then we'll wrap up the show. This will be a 3-segment show this time because I was a little bit late. That's on me. Tomorrow, though, we'll talk about it later. 2 minutes. I'll be back. Catch you guys next. We are back. I got a light. Probably looks off right now, so I apologize for that. But we're here to talk about the prediction for today for Game 5. Like I said earlier, Game 5 is tonight, Monday, June 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ABC and ESPN. The Warriors are favored by 4 in this game. The Warriors are favored -4. The over-under is 212. The money line is Warriors are actually in favor of -168. Boston's +142. Now, I'll start off with this. Game 4, my prediction was the Warriors win by 10 or more. Originally, I said they'd win 102-92, but then I brought it back down to 90, so I'll say 10 or more. So technically, I was right. They won 107-97, so I'll take that as a dub for me. And plus, I was also right on the over-under. They did not go. I said they would go under. I believe the over-under was 214, if I'm not mistaken. And they hit it actually exactly. No, that's not correct math. That's 204. So I was right. Good. I was right on that as well. And I said the Warriors win. So I'm all right here. So the point spread this time, game 5 odds. I will do Warriors are going to take this win here. I understand the Celtics, I believe, are like 12-0 after a loss. But I think the Warriors are on fire right now. Unless the Celtics do something drastic at San Francisco, I don't think that I don't think they're going to win this game. And I said Warriors in 6. I'm sticking with that pick, so I need to choose the Warriors for these next 2 games. I'll take the Warriors -4. I'll say this time they will go over the 212. I think this might be a pretty high-scoring game. So obviously the money line, I'll take Warriors at a -168. The Warriors are now, the crazy thing about this is now Warriors are in favor to win the actual NBA Finals. Before, it was the Celtics to win. The Warriors now moved into the lead with a -1.5 series spread, which is good for them, right? And what people are looking at, the favorite is actually for 7 games. 6 games, which I predicted actually is a +100 compared to the 7, which is a -115. So I'll still say Warriors in 6. I don't feel great about it, but I still think the Warriors will win the NBA Finals, regardless if it's 6 or 7. My dad still has it going Celtics in 6, which still could happen again. But he said if 7 games, you know what, 7 games, he said that the Warriors will probably win Game 7 at home. But we will see. So Game 5 for me, we'll wrap it up. I'll end it at 6. So we'll keep it. We'll keep it. The continuity will remain. So this will be about a 40-minute show ish. But yeah, I'll take Celtics to lose the game, Warriors to win and cover the -4 spread. I'll take them to do the over on 212, so I think it'll be a relatively high-scoring game. But for this Harvey Hour, for this live Harvey Hour, I thank anyone who tuned in for today's show. My name is Nathan Harvey. This is the Harvey Hour. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, June 14th at 5 p.m. Eastern for another Harvey Hour. This is going to be a daily thing. Every single weekday, a Harvey Hour will be up at 5 p.m. Eastern live here on the Harvey Hour. Make sure you tell everybody you know. If you want a sports talk show, here's where you should come to. Tomorrow, see if there's more news. But for now, hope you guys all enjoy your days and your evenings. Make sure you watch the NBA Finals. Follow me on Twitter at Nathan T. Harvey1. I will be I tweet a lot, especially during these games, so I'll definitely be tweeting tonight, depending on what I see. But make sure you guys go follow me there again at Nathan T. Harvey1 on Twitter. You can find anything I post, whether it be clips of the show, when I'm going to go live, or if you want to see my tweets mid-game, follow me there once again at Nathan T. Harvey on T. Harvey1 on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, The Harvey Hour, to see more sports news and analysis. But for this live stream, I thank anyone who tuned in. My name is Nathan Harvey. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another live Harvey Hour.